Hello everyone, T Hunter here. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back and thank you so much for coming back. So, Married at First Sight, Season 15 in the beautiful city of San Diego has come to a close. And today I just want to give my thoughts and takeaways from the season from each couple. They're not going to be before you long. So, let's get started with the first couple. Let's just jump right on in with Ben and Morgan. So, as of the reunion and the Where Are They Now special, Ben and Morgan, they decided to divorce before decision day. So, sometimes we don't know exactly what's going on until the reunion or the Where Are They Now special. So, I was relieved to see that not only did they divorce, but they stuck to that decision and they remained apart. So, there's no confusion, there's no blurring the lines, none of that. So I can definitely say that I was relieved to see that, especially after everything that they went through in their marriage. I think that once everything was said and done, Ben did a great job with owning up to his part in the marriage's demise. I personally don't see anything wrong with people finding trustworthy individuals, be it friends, a therapist, or family member, as long as they can be neutral and they can stay out of your business. I don't think that there is anything wrong with spouses confiding in trusted and trustworthy individuals when it comes to the challenges that they may be facing in their marriages, relationships, what have you. However, Morgan drew a hard line in the sand and had told Ben, hey, I don't want you talking to any of the castmates about our marriage, what we're going through, our challenges, after he disclosed to Justin that she had not finished her bachelor's program just yet. Now, I've said this before, where I believe that Ben went wrong was he agreed to that hard line in the sand, but then he continued to confide in Justin and the other husbands. So it could have been mitigated had he said, you know what, I cannot agree to do that. Or if he felt that he was strong enough not to continue confiding in the other husbands. That would have been the only two options that he would have had. So, I do wish that Ben not only received more grace from Morgan, but I also wish that he had extended more grace toward himself. Neither one of them had been married before. Neither one of them had been married to strangers before. They did not know each other, didn't know how each other ticks. And you're going to make mistakes in all of your relationships, whether you're social or professional. So I definitely wish that there had been more leniency, more grace, and more patience. However, I can understand why Morgan was so upset, because Ben not only confided in Justin one time, it was multiple times after he said he would no longer use Justin as a confidant. So it's a good thing that he was able to take ownership for that part. Like, hey, I said one thing and I did another. That's my bad. That's on me. When it came to the apologies, Morgan definitely had a clear expectation of what a genuine apology would look like and how she would respond to it. And therefore, she was not going to soften until she got the apology that she was expecting. So she sounds like a lot of people. Sometimes we can be so stuck in our ways and we have this idea of how we want things to go that it can be really hard to let go of that vision and to be flexible, to extend grace to other people, and to even extend grace to ourselves as we are turning down, say, our plan A in exchange for a better plan that maybe we don't know is better yet because we've never considered anything else. I am also glad to hear that not only is Ben in therapy, but Morgan said that she had been addressing her challenges around trust in therapy as well. So I wish them nothing but the best. I pray that they can find healing, not only in their relationships with their family members, but also in their relationships with themselves. The way that you see yourself and treat yourself is going to inform how you treat others. It's a tale as old as time. If you see yourself at level 0, there's a possibility that you will chop other people down to size so that you can at least have a little bit of edge over them. So, if you're not being kind to yourself first, it's going to be a challenge for you to be kind to others. And your relationships are going to be rough because not too many people want to be in a relationship with anyone who is mistreating them. Moving on, Mitch and Kristen. So on decision day, they both said no to each other, but I personally think that Kristen may have wanted to say yes, but because Mitch said no first, she then said, I'm choosing myself today. And there's no harm, no foul there. If Kristen wanted to stay married, that's okay because that's her decision. Just like wanting to get a divorce was Mitch's. I can say that I have a lot of respect for Mitch and Kristen because they went through this process with so much honesty. While I might not have always agreed with the approach in the honesty and how it was delivered, I have to give them points for just being honest with each other and being honest with themselves. I can respect the fact that Mitch recognized, while I do not want to lose Kristen, I cannot love her and be the spouse that she needs because there are barriers in the way. And while it is painful to watch people break up, it's better that it happens sooner than later. Because if Mitch would have said yes on decision day and then there were no changes in how he treated Kristen, if the attraction did not grow, if more trust and intimacy did not grow in their relationship, that could be a breeding ground for resentment on both of their parts. And I think that it was great that at the 1 month anniversary dinner, Kristen was able to verbalize, if I continue to pay so much attention to what it will take to please Mitch, I'm going to snap. And I'll take it a step further. She would lose herself. And she would look in the mirror one day, if she continued to just comply with whatever plans Mitch may have had, look up and see, I don't even recognize myself anymore. The passions that I used to have, the hobbies that I used to enjoy, just my personality, putting on makeup, maybe all of that would be gone. And then she would have to go back and try to find herself and rediscover herself again if she were to have gotten lost in Mitch's preferences and agendas. So, there's that. Now, I also agree with Kristen being able to verbalize the frustrations around the feedback they had received from the experts in one of their final meetings with the experts leading up to decision day, where she had interjected on Dr. Pepper's feedback to Mitch and Kristen. And Kristen said, I don't want to believe that Mitch has come so far and that even after coming so far, he is still unsure about whether or not he's attracted to me. I want someone who is excited to see me and, they just cannot wait to be with me each and every day. So it's good when you can recognize, I'm not getting that level of intensity from this person. So even if outsiders are saying, oh, but there's hope and there's potential, if you are the type of individual that says, no, potential is not enough, I need more than that, then go with your first mind. Otherwise, there's always a possibility for you to stay in a relationship that you were never meant to stay in. And then here comes the resentment, the bitterness, the pain, feelings of loneliness, and even hopelessness that this relationship can't get better because you're not seeing anything different from what you've been presented, even if the person said, hey, I will change. Now, once everything was said and done and the couples met up together after decision day, Mitch had said, I do not want to leave the door open in regards to romance with Kristen. And Kristen did not take that as well. And it could have been because she has been hearing multiple times in different ways that Mitch is just not attracted to her in the way that he feels he needs to be a really good husband to her. So I did not agree with the women coming for Mitch in a sense, because every person should have the right to choose who they want to be with. I don't care how great a cheeseburger sounds. If you have made up in your mind that you want grilled salmon, I'm not going to rip you to shreds because you said cheeseburgers. I understand they're your favorite, but my preference is salmon. And in that instance, Mitch was just saying, I would prefer to be in a relationship where I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I can give this woman all of me. And there are no hangups, there are no barriers. Even if the barriers are something that he has created in his own mind and within his own personality or way of doing things. So kudos to Mitch for standing on his decision of, not only am I saying no today, I'm not going to lead you on and say, yeah, maybe mixed signals next week. Now, the fact that they were kissing in the car after decision day, and the fact that he told Kristen, I still have feelings for you at the reunion. Well, I mean, just because they said, no, we don't want to stay married, that doesn't necessarily mean that the feelings that they have invested in each other over the past 8 weeks at that point would just turn off immediately. But after 5 months, it's just confusion. And we know God is not the author of confusion. So, a mixed signal, just take it as a no. But definitely wish them both the best. And I don't see either one of them having an extremely difficult time getting into another relationship as long as they are willing to do the work that it takes to be a good partner, to be a good spouse. Moving forward, let's go ahead and jump into Lindy and Miguel. So on decision day, they said yes to each other. At the very beginning of the season, Lindy's comment around them having a shared experience with trauma in their relationships with their families, it concerned me because she said either we're going to trauma bond and grow closer together, or the trauma is going to be an issue that further drives them apart. It looked like they were able, to bond and come together, not just on the shared experience of them having trauma, but just simply because they seemed to genuinely like each other. I think the challenges for them was they both had to learn that they navigate their emotions differently, whether they are tired or they are triggered, confused, or whatever that emotional state is. Miguel and Lindy do not handle pressure and they do not handle their emotions 100% the same. I don't know a lot of people that do, and even if they do, that does not mean that those two are meant for each other just because they have similar ways. I feel like a takeaway with Lindy and Miguel would be this question: can I be myself with you, but also do that in a way where I can respect you and the differences that you may have? Sometimes our personalities might come across one way to people, and that is not our intention. For example, Lindy has admitted that she gets easily distracted. And even in the scene where they were discussing the importance of, will you take Miguel's last name or not? How she was talking to him and getting pretty excited and passionate and, throwing F-bombs here and there during her explanation. Miguel looked a little bit put off. And Lindy was also put off by the fact that Miguel wasn't as gracious with her when he was seeing in real time how easily distracted she can be. Whether that is simply part of her personality or that is a sign of ADHD, I don't know. However, I do know that sometimes we can definitely trigger our spouses, even though we're not trying to, if we've never had the conversation around, hey, I would love for you and I to have difficult conversations, but maybe I want us to be mindful of our tones or the verbiage that we're using so that we don't cross a boundary without knowing it, and then it's like running into a wall because we haven't discussed before time. Hey, Maybe I don't do well when you yell, or I don't do well when you curse, or I don't do well when I feel like you're not listening to me. But they're strangers. So these are things that they are learning about each other on the fly. They haven't dated for years and learned each other and then decided to get married. They met and married at the altar. So time will tell how everything goes with them. But I think they learned valuable lessons that they are very different people, and they're just going to have to learn each other and adjust over time if their marriage is going to thrive, as far as what works and what does not work for them as a couple. Next couple, Stasha and Nate. You know what? Scratch that. Let's jump into Justin and Alexis. I want to end this video on a relatively high note. Not that this isn't going to be respectful. It's just, well, okay. On decision day, Justin and Alexis said yes to each other, but there were definitely moments that gave me pause. For example, I could tell that Justin was all in and wanted to be married to Alexis, whereas throughout the season, there has been a common thread when it comes to how Alexis would talk to him, how she would behave around him, where there was always that underlying current of, you're just not that into him. It doesn't matter how much money he makes, it doesn't matter how tall he is, none of this matters because you do not want Justin. You may want to be married, but you don't want to be married to Justin specifically. So the only question that I would have for Justin and Alexis after the end of the season is, why not say no sooner? There were times where it seemed like Justin was getting there. He would say things like, I still love you, but I'm very guarded now with you. Or, okay, I'm giving up my dog. This is a huge sacrifice. And I hope that you understand this sacrifice is my way of saying I am all in. I want to stay married to you. I am even willing to give up my support animal because she behaves in ways that are aggressive and we don't want any problems in the household. So I was surprised that he did not say no on decision day, given the reservations he was having. As for Alexis, when she walked down the aisle and saw Justin, she did not want him then. After the wedding, after they took their vows, she had said, well, he's not my type. He's not the type that I would go for typically. She was even telling him during their first conversation, yeah, stop high-fiving me because that's corny. So I was confused as to why carry this out for 8 weeks in a day. Being honest and being vulnerable, they may not be the easiest things to do, but I promise you, if you're given the choice between someone being upfront and honest with you versus them lying to you and you later finding out the truth, and the truth being, hey, I know I said I was for you, but I'm really not, the latter would be more hurtful, would cause more confusion, could cause you to not only doubt that person, but even doubt yourself. So I honestly wish that if Justin was not in a space to say no sooner, I wished that Alexis had done it, because through the season, by the time we got to the Where Are They Now special, there were a lot of hurt feelings. There was a lot of anger, especially on Justin's behalf, because he realized, hey, you have gaslighted and thrown shade at me this entire time, even though you told me, hey, I spoke very well of you. when she was doing her one-on-ones or even meeting up with just the wives. So, now he's questioning everything. Like, did you mean anything that you said to me that might have been kind or positive? So it definitely blew up and backfired, the saying yes to time instead of being able to say yes to forever. It's okay to pick what you like. And on Married at First Sight, that choice is taken from you. While it would have been interesting to see how this would have worked out, or if Justin and Alexis would have even made it onto the show had she said no at the altar, I think it's possible that she would have been respected more if she had just been honest and said, this is not who I want to be married to. I'm sure he's a great guy. He's just not the guy for me. This way, no one's time is wasted. No one's feelings are unnecessarily hurt. I just hate that it got to this point with Justin and Alexis. I'm glad that he was able to stand up to her once everything was said and done. But because of how he was treated and him admitting that he has challenges with navigating and regulating his emotions, especially when triggered, the castmates became unnecessary casualties of the war between Justin and Alexis by the time the season had aired and he saw how she was behaving towards him, even behind his back. So yeah, I hate that for them. And I really hope that whether they seek counseling, whatever their healing path after this divorce might look like, I wish them both the best. All right, now, our final couple, Stasha and Nate. So on decision day, they said yes to each other. And by the time the reunion rolled around, they were still together. And at the time that the Where Are They Now special was starting, there it seemed to be, a bit of a hiccup, bump in the road for them, where Stasha had asked Nate for a separation because they were taking turns like living in each other's homes. He has an apartment and she has a house in 2 different cities, and Nate had asked Stasha to leave because he needed his space. So that's where we were starting off on at the beginning of the Where Are They Now special. But during the season, I definitely noticed how both of them openly admitted to having trust issues. Nate's were stemming from his absentee mother and the fact that that relationship just does not exist. And Stasha admitted that she does not know who her father is, and therefore she, for all of these years of her life, has felt no attachment to her maiden name because she did not have a relationship with her biological father. So getting married would mean now I'm going to have a name that I can have an emotional attachment to, because not only do I love this person, but I actually know this person and I'm planning to know them intimately. So as far as their trust issues with each other, it was amazing to see them be able to communicate it and be respectful toward each other, even if they had difficult conversations around why there's a lack of trust, why there's a difficulty in becoming vulnerable with each other. I thought Stasha did a great job verbalizing how trust issues look for her. She had made a comment that it's hard for her to trust what someone says if she cannot fact check it. So if you tell her the sky is blue, she can go and look and see that it's blue. And I definitely think that that part of it can be attributed to the lack of her father's presence in her life. We don't know what the narrative around that was. If there were ever empty promises made, maybe he's saying, I will come and spend time with you, and then he does not deliver. So enough times, then she would be able to recognize a pattern, okay, that's not going to happen because he's the one that's saying it, and he has a track record of not delivering on his word. But it is hard when you are trying to get to know someone and not just on a friendship level. She and Nate are married. So you're trying to develop this trust that's necessary for intimacy to grow in this relationship with a stranger. And you have to take what they say at face value and hope that they are not lying to you, that they're not intentionally leading you on, that they're not trying to be deceptive. But you don't know that because you don't know this person and how they operate yet. In regards to Nate, it was refreshing for him to get to the root of why vulnerability with Stasha was difficult, because he's saying, I don't know you, but then also he was saying getting vulnerable or having someone insisting that I get vulnerable with them is like you're trying to pry me open. And I thought, oh, that is a good illustration as to why someone would immediately shut down and want to guard themselves if they're feeling or perceiving the person that's asking them these in-depth questions. You're probing, but you're not doing it in a way that's letting me know, hey, I have this question, but if it's too deep, too soon, we can take time to get there. I think Nate's reservation was, if you want me to open up really quickly to you, I won't be able to do that. And so will you count me out as your husband because I need more time? I really commend these two for doing the hard work of having those difficult conversations early, because sometimes it is easy to get caught up in the, oh, well, you guys just got married, you don't know each other very well, let's just enjoy. Let's just bask in the joy of the wedding festivities and the reception and the honeymoon. No, because after the honeymoon, after you come back from that vacation, after that big ceremony is over, real life starts. So having those conversations early, because it is an accelerated process with Married at First Sight, I can only imagine how scary that was. And yet these two were willing to do it. So major shout out to Stasha and Nate for doing the work that needed to be done, even when it was uncomfortable, and especially sharing it with the world, because you didn't have to. You didn't have to go this route. You might not have met each other, but that was your choice to come on this show, be matched with a stranger, and then really dive in and do the work. That pretty much concludes my thoughts and the takeaways that I had for this season of Married at First Sight. And I'm looking forward to the new season in January. If you have enjoyed this content, please feel free to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel for more content, and of course, hit that notification bell so you never miss a future post. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you on my next one. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your day. Bye, guys.